Hey everybody, it's Gloria Ortiz with Real People Realty, or some of you may know me as Glow, as in hashtag Go With Glow. Today's Formation Friday video is going to be about underwriters. So Dave from Chicago Financial Services agreed to let me come over, talk to him, and find out what exactly is an underwriter and why are they so important in a real estate transaction. Hi Dave.
Hello.
How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for letting me come. What I wanted to do this video because many clients don't really understand what an underwriter does in their position. So I thought it'd be kind of good to talk about it and kind of educate. What is an underwriter?
Okay, an underwriter is the person who reviews all the documents in a loan file for income and asset, appraisal, insurance, and even title. The underwriter is reviewing these documents to make sure they are acceptable to the different guidelines that we've been taught. We've been taught agency guidelines like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, FHA guidelines, and even some investor guidelines, private investor guidelines. But ultimately, we're looking at a bank statement or a pay stub and coming up with a calculation like for income on a pay stub and making sure that's acceptable to that end investor.
Wow, so then the underwriter kind of needs to know everything about Freddie Mac, everything about Fannie Mae, about the investors, all these rules and regulations, which is a lot.
Yes, many rules and regulations. They're always constantly changing too. If you went 5 or 7 years ago and you looked at the way underwriting was done, it is night and day difference from today. As affordable housing opens up more, some of the guidelines have been more lenient, which allows us to lend more easily and actually shorten the underwriting process.
Wow. Okay, and so they're also the people who give us the clear to close. So we can't close on a real estate transaction until we give us the clear to close. So kind of like you mentioned before, they're the ones checking all the boxes, making sure, 1 + 2 = 3,
yes.
And all the T's are crossed and everything.
And that kind of goes into a mortgage commitment. A loan officer, will give you a mortgage commitment, the loan is clear to close, but you might notice little conditions on there. Maybe something about if it's a purchase that the insurance is good for 12 months, or clear title to make sure that there's no outstanding liens on the property. And in some companies, we push this off to processing and closing to even speed up more of the underwriter so they can work on more files.
So I guess people don't really realize everything that an underwriter has to do before they issue that clear to close. It's not just looking at 2 pieces of paper.
No.
It's having to deal with a lot and remember all these rules and regulations from the different programs or federal agencies. Why is it in some cases where you get a conditions list of what you need, you submit everything, and then 3 days later you think you're going to get a clear to close? They always give you an estimated clear to close in a week or something, and then the underwriter comes back and says, no, I need X, Y, and Z now.
Right. So as an underwriter, I would love everything all in one little package, look at once. It'd be very simple and easy to look at all the different documents, compare them together. But unfortunately, the mortgage process normally doesn't work that way, no matter how everyone tries, because there are documents from the borrower, there's an appraisal, there's an insurance, there's title company documents, and these just come at different points in the process. So an underwriter will review usually mostly the borrower and credit documents first, and then there's other documents come later. And so that's one of the reasons why you might get follow-up conditions.
Right, because they couldn't ask for a certain form because they didn't know they were going to need that form because they didn't receive it till after the fact, and so that's why they may come back to you.
Correct.
And say that they need something.
Correct.
Okay.
So you might get a conditional approval, and then a week later you get something about insurance, and you're like, well, why didn't you ask before? The underwriter technically didn't have the document.
Okay. So it's not to get on your guys' nerves that they're requesting stuff at different times. It's really just how the process goes, and their job is just so important because without them, we don't get a clear to close, and then we can't close on a property that you're interested in buying. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. If you have any questions about real estate in general, my contact information is on this page. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll see you guys next month. Thanks.